What's up? I'm Grizz. Welcome back. The 7th episode, Skipping Loafer. We had some conflict kind of between Mitsumi and Shima last week, and things were able to be resolved very peacefully, I would say, in a very good way, with people finally being able to express themselves and true desires in some sort of way. But as a result of this, we end up growing farther apart because of the conflict that we have, but the overcoming it together and going through this obstacle together results in a stronger bond at the end of the day between us. So excited to see kind of how that transfers into what we're going to be doing now. And once again, I have no clue what the hell we're going to focus on. Regardless, very excited to see where this goes. If you like it all, please hit the like and subscribe. Do really mean a lot to me. Feel free to feel free to stick around for the discussion and leave any comments about this episode or the series as well. Recommend other things for me to watch as well at some other point. And let's get going though. Episode 7. Is it summer now? Or like spring break or something? Get to have fun with team. Or friends, not team. She keeps replaying this moment in her mind. Really? Cool. I just hope this isn't going to turn into she has too much on her plate and things are difficult and then she has to continue to work through that, because we already know that's going to happen. So I hope they don't make that more focused than it already should be. Oh. Oh, okay. I guess that makes plenty of sense why she can do this now. I didn't even think about that. Does she not? I'm confused. Is this the same guy who was president before and I'm just fucking up here? I don't remember him though. I don't know. I'll look later. What's up with this shirt? Thank you. That's true. All the good ideas can start with a conversation. Okay, so this is definitely the new guy though. The president. Like you're belittling her in a bit. Yeah. Aww. Yeah. So what happened? How did she lose? Oh no. Yeah, somebody else entered that. Right, it's a given. Of course. She knows him though, yeah. And game over. Is he just really popular? He's just probably very popular and easy to get in then. Also that, sure. Yeah, but the problem is kids don't tend to care about that. Also, she probably doesn't promote herself, yeah. Sure. So the common issue of tough exterior versus how she might actually be. Was it close at least? Like, did she put up a fight? Bounce back instantly, I'm sure. She probably went home and cried all night. I guess being happy at least that somebody will. Aww. That's so sad. No, that's not. That's just sad. She tried so hard. Just doing it to pass the time. Your joke? Oh, from the first day? The leading? Yeah. Right. So her believing that this is literally all she's ever done and worked towards, but somebody else, it just comes naturally in a way, and they have all these other options and things that they can do, and she's almost stuck as if this is her path, and she's still failing in comp to everybody else that's around her, or at least the person that she ended up going against, but still.
自信になります。
Mhm.
だけど努力がいつか報われるって信じることはすごく
Right.
怖いってことです。
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. It's one of those you just have to work hard and then live with the results. Unfortunately. No, she'll be distracted. No. She takes a step back from his overwhelming blow. I bought friends. Oh no. Uh-oh. Don't lock it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What do you got for us? Is this old? Self-protection. Nice. That's a cool memory to really have. Well, that's sad, but it's a cool memory to actually look back on. Wish I had something like that. It sounds a little weird, but I listen, I was a kid at the time. What's your, yeah, what do we get at though?
そりゃ僕だっていつか最高のものを作ってみんなに認められたいけど、これだって誰にも見せないよりは君らが笑ってくれるならいいと思う。毎日のゆとりから月一の息抜きまで。
Oh, yeah, no, that's cool, yeah. 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 This is something that can be taken in a very bad way, but it also can be taken very good because of the progress or wanting to change or better yourself in a way. But it could be bad for other reasons. It just feels more of like she's trying to embrace kind of what happens and learn from it and take whatever she can. So it's coming off good for that reason. So we're going back home for the summer? That's cool. Or for a little bit at least. Huge, yes, as in one. Well, I mean, she's a kid. Yeah, what's exactly the relation there? I know that. Now get a little sauce, yeah. What are you doing to my Mitsumi? Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. It's probably just directions, don't even worry. It's all good. And then the smile. Hello. Oh. How'd that go?
最近はそうしてるよ。何も友達になりたくて聞いてくれてるんじゃないと思う。
Okay, gotcha.
中途半端も悪いしね。
Right. That doesn't happen often to us normal people. People don't just ask us, right, buddy? Things you can only get here. See, he listens. He listens. Gotta go to the zoo, alright. I mean, I've been coming from where she came. Nothing's crowded, you know? Nope. Huh? People just say hi to you? Oh no. But he did. No, yeah, I didn't hear that. Yeah, because if you literally know nothing about them, you're definitely not just trying to be friends. Mm-hmm. That's how he's able to pick up on that. Mm-hmm. I think it's cool, the clear line of distinction between, I guess, intentions of what a friend would probably try and go out of their way to do versus what somebody who's interested relationship-wise would try and do, which is very, very important. Also, the guys making a note to the girls that they're fully open if anybody wants to come up.
ったっぽいな。
Yeah.
その後だ。ほっとしつつも胸が痛い。
Mm,
私も度重なる偶然がなければやんわりシャットアウトされる側になってた
right.
とか。夏休みは女子会もするよね。
Oh,
誰かの家で勉強会とかさ。いいね。
nice.
お泊まりなら映画も見たい。何それ、絶対
Include Mika, please.
パーティーじゃん。
She's just listening
いつ
in.
にする？ミカちゃんちは
There you
外
go.
国 OK？ あ、私も入ってる。
Hmm.
マコトんち厳しいっけ？いや、違う。
It's just, I've never done this
パジャマ
before.
パーティーとか無縁な人種だと
Yeah.
自分が
I don't know how this stuff goes.
女子高生っぽいこと全部やろうね。
We will learn together.
私らタイプとか全然違うもんね。
Yeah.
そうだよね。
It's funny how that happens.
同じクラスじゃなかったら友達になれなかった人たちだらけだ。
Probably.
と緊張す
Are
る。
we getting a zoo asking
な
out
んでしょう
thing?
か。
ね
You want to go
調べ
still?
たら
It's not that
夏休み
bad.
でも平日はそんな混まないみたいだよ。
そうな
Mm.
の？忘れんもの。
It's how most places are.
そうだ。大人は夏休みあいにく。
You're not.
よく知っ
Yeah, well, give it a second. Give it a second. What happened?
大切にしなくちゃ。
Yeah.
誰かと言ってくるの？
Oh.
それなんだけど。
That's an interesting way to approach the question. Oh. Huh? But it's not that way. Huh? I don't mean it like that. Shot herself. No.
い
Yeah.
いよ。
Yeah.
お盆前だよね。
You're in a different position than everybody else. So that's why it's okay. Numerous reasons, but
いい
この
日がいいよ
これって
ね。
デートじゃないの？
interesting. Yeah.
ついてない。あ、じゃあ僕
Completely friend zone. Intentions off reverts. Yeah.
嫌じゃないんだ。
Okay, interesting.
か
Mika might be upset, but you should be happy for your friend. You gotta realize the thing we talked about before regarding this. With her reactions in a way and how she focuses negatively on things versus positively in a way. But she's also taking it a complete different way than Shima is, so interesting. And Mitsumi, I guess, so they're all interesting.
なもんか見てみたい。
Uh-oh.
ああ、いいじゃん、ちょっとぐらい。ああ、はいはい、そこの人に聞くから。ねえ、ちょっとそこの人。
Uh-oh.
島宗介ってどこのクラスか知ってる？
Hello.
ごめん、休養先帰るね。
Who is she? I don't think she was with us on the first episode when he was with his group of friends. I'd have to go back and check.
ここなんだ。
Interesting choice for the song, too. Oh. Speaking on the classroom while looking at Mitsumi and saying that, though. Interesting.
ミカちゃんのお知り合いの方？
No.
なんかわかっちゃった。
いた。リリカ、門のとこで待っててって言ったじゃん。
だね。
Yeah.
いやいやいやいやいや。
Sure.
変わったどころじゃない。
Oh. Hmm.
さっきの人やのきゃよ。
What you reckon? Yeah. This episode reads off to me initially here as a way of navigating through Mitsumi trying to understand, I guess, navigate once again through how to deal with her own feelings, but also feelings of comforting, I guess, in a way, of friends, but also at the same time whether it's okay to be concerned or protective or like these sort of different emotions and like what the line is between like how close somebody can be as a friend or how to like treat somebody, like whether you should bring up certain information or not, whether you should kind of let the other person to come to you and speak what's on their mind, whether like just being considerate in a way and trying to do whatever you can to be there for them and be there to help them without maybe pushing too much, but also trying to make intentions and other things clear and try and understand that type of thing. If that sort of makes sense it makes sense in my head. If that comes off in some sort of way that you can pick up on, I'd appreciate that. That would be good. But if not, sorry. She seems to be spending as much time as she can here navigating through two different situations, specifically with what Takamian has to go through the fact that she's not student council president, understanding that and how she might be feeling, the things that she might be going through, and also just how she might be feeling about herself and the situation that she put herself in, and how she fails, maybe possibly through to failing, and all this other stuff that kind of happened with her due to the election, and how as a friend you can be there to support somebody, but also maybe not understand exactly why or how somebody feels due to the fact that they might not want to show that, and then kind of getting these glimpses into people and understanding that maybe she does want to better herself at the end of the day, or she does have reasons for wanting to change, and whether they are positive or if they're more in a negative light in a way, such as like Mika in the situation that we had with her. And not saying that her change of who she really is or change of her appearance and stuff that she had throughout her life here has been something that was negative in a way, right? Because it can still have positives and things that come along with it. But the fact that she was doing it specifically for others in a way to feel more accepted or wanted or whatever from other people, it gets you concerned once again when you see somebody like Takamine who might be going through with something similar to that. Now, her situation though does read off to me more in a positive light, and it reads off more of she is trying to better herself because she also recognizes that she might be taking things a little too serious. She might be a little too hard on herself. She might be needing to kind of lighten up and just enjoy a laugh or whatever every now and then, and be able to fully open up herself a bit more. And if she just shows that little side of her, lots of people can probably come to her, and maybe she'll just seem more approachable, or more people might be willing to kind of make friends with her in a way. The situation with Shima in the second half is completely different though, how it operates. And honestly, I think there's a lot there to kind of talk on. So I'm just going to save that for when I'm going through the episode here, which I'll start now, I guess. With spring, I believe, ending here, it is time for a change of student council. I don't know how they do it in their time periods and everything, but I believe it is similar to this, just because I think in like Kaguya, if I remember correct, like in the middle of the school year, it seemed like almost before they went on like a summer break, they ended up switching or having the elections like be held once they came back, or right before, or something like that. So this makes perfect sense to me, I think, like right in that timeline, which it is interesting, unrelated to the show entirely, why they would do it then. Maybe there is more better reason because new school year just begins, so start it like at that kind of point. But I don't know, because then like the third year, or the dude who like has it still has to have it when the new year begins for like the first month instead of something, so there's still somebody in office, so there's like a normal transfer of power kind of in a way. I believe it would probably be something similar to that. Regardless, with that happening and the current president no longer being involved, it appears Takamine wants to step up and she wants to be the president herself. This is something that she always seems to have looked forward to. She was the vice president prior. The president even gave her like an early congrats in a way, like expecting her to step up and kind of set these goals and expectations in a way that he expects out of her. But unfortunately, when finding out that somebody else is running against her and finding out exactly who it is, it turns to be somebody who is very similar to Shima in a way. Somebody who's very popular, is very athletic, good at like everything that they kind of do, and everybody kind of flocks to them in a way. All the guys look at them like they're a natural born leader and somebody that they want to look up to, that they wish that they could be like, and all the girls look up to them as somebody who's very attractive, or they're into, or whatever that situation would be, which becomes very difficult for Takamine herself to kind of win and become president in a way. It's very understandable that this actually would happen. Look at Shima, for example. He didn't even volunteer himself, and he became one of the class leaders just because everybody else kind of put him in that position. When you're the popular person, this is kind of what happens. You attract the attention to you, despite you maybe not even wanting it, just having that glow and aura about you. Other people naturally just kind of come to you. And I think Takamine kind of takes that into consideration here, that she doesn't have that factor to her. She doesn't have that thing to her that other people kind of easily want to come along to and get excited and think about when they look up to her. She's somebody who never presented herself in a way to the school that, or to the other students, that got them interested or made them think like, oh, she'd be really great at what she does. Somebody like Mitsumi can easily understand, because she's spent so much time with her so far and understanding her process and the way she goes about things and the way that she feels about student council and everything else that comes along with it. But nobody else really can understand that, because this stuff from Takamine doesn't really get displayed on a broader stage in any sort of way. Well, Takamine does seem pretty down about it. Of course she's going to be. You're going to be frustrated regardless. You lost an election, something that you really cared about, something that you really wanted to do, right? Her literally having like a book that she made of all things that she wants to do, or like look into, or just whatever's going to happen when she becomes president, taking these notes for the 2 years that she's been here already. It's so sad to see somebody who takes this job entirely serious. And I can relate this entirely to, nobody else will understand this because you guys didn't go to school with me, but specifically in high school, I remember we were having an election go on, and I didn't go to like any school that anybody really cared too much regarding who was president and stuff like that. But I believe it was going into my senior year. So this is important. This is something that's going to, or somebody who's going to be in charge of helping plan out things regarding like our prom and like all these other events that you want to be just very good and enjoyable, but also have them at a cheaper, lower cost, or just whatever's going to go on, and is going to work hard for everybody and expect that to happen. We had this kid who constantly would go around, and he would be, for years now, he was involved with the student council in some sort of way, regardless of what his role was. He's somebody who was going into that kind of field when he, like with politics and just being like a leader in some sort of way. Like when he got older, he was already like that, right? This dude would literally come in and he'd wear like dress shirts or like suits or like something like every day, right? He would dress up like that. Like he was very serious about the way that he went about things. And this is for years at a time now with her at high school. This is somebody who is very, into this, and you can expect good things because you're expecting him to. I don't recall actually. I believe he was president actually for a year or two. Like he actually got in like once or twice beforehand. So he's somebody that we could trust, and everything kind of is going smoothly. Now, our senior year is coming up. Everybody, this is an important time, and everybody kind of realizes that, or they should at least realize that, except for some reason, something happened with him, and people kind of didn't have the greatest like taste in their mouth with him. They didn't want to like pay attention to what he wanted, or they didn't want him involved in some sort of way. So they decided to all get together and vote against him. And then things were absolute shit for us for the remainder of that year, and they completely fell apart, and everything was just not coordinated well. Things were fairly expensive, like our prom and everything. And I know I had a conversation with him before. I literally said that there were ways that he could have probably helped, and he offered to help, but nobody was really around to kind of do anything. Actually, it literally came to a point at the end of the year when we were, or middle of the year, when they were really trying to like get things together and coordinate stuff. He came into all of the meetings, and he found himself involved, and he found himself showing up more than like the president or some of the other people involved too. And he was literally there trying to just help people. So it's like this fact that he's a little different than Takamine in the sense that you could actually see visibly from the outside that he wasn't like messing around, that he was taking this very serious, and he really cared about like trying to do this stuff, and this was something important to him in a way. But similarly to her, other people kind of voted for somebody that came up and came out of nowhere that was more popular, or that they just liked more, or they got along with, or they thought would be funny, just to like put somebody else in, just for whatever other reason, was like, this is the appropriate route to go. And it's absolutely must be crushing for somebody like Takamine to have to go through with this, somebody who cares so much and is so invested in this sort of thing, to have to deal with it. And even as Mitsumi puts it, she couldn't bring herself to like the point that she could actually cheer her up or do anything too, because at that point, what do? You can't bring this up. I mean, you can do things to kind of take their mind off of it, or maybe try and hang out and do something, but they're going to look at themselves and be incredibly hard on themselves as they're a failure, and they've done all this stuff wrong. At the time, I wasn't understanding it, but we get to see Kanichika come in and show them an older video of himself after he hears Mitsumi give this conversation with him about why she might be the way that she is right now. This video that he ends up showing all of them is a old video, a video in which he created when he was younger, and he was trying to create his first film. He was trying to direct his first film, right? Somebody who's very into theater and all this stuff growing up. This is something he's always been passionate about. Similarly here to Takamine, about the way that she feels with things. And everybody kind of just laughed at it. They were like, this is awful. Like, this isn't very good. But he was embarrassed to show it. And it's not something he wanted to come out of his own shell and give and make somebody understand, but it's something that can connect with her in some sort of way, and it allowed her to open up and maybe get a laugh out and understand that other people have been through embarrassing things and have had to work hard to overcome things and try and figure out exactly what it is they can do to improve themselves and put themselves in a position that maybe they're not embarrassed of themselves, or they're not embarrassed of the way that other people look at them. It's like whatever it is that kind of matches up with you. We see that closing out with Takamine finally having like a moment where she kind of realizes, she makes a complete list of things to do, as she always does with her schedules, and she realizes, or Mitsumi sees inside of it, that she has things such as ways that she's going to work on becoming more more approachable for other people, or ways that she's going to try and smile or be a bit friendlier to people, or a bit more open, or just try and put herself out there, almost to brand herself in a way, but also get other people involved to the point that maybe she can make some friends, or maybe other people can see a bit more into her, like Mitsumi was able to, of the kind of person she is, or the things that she values and cares about. And as I just said a little bit earlier before I started with this part, was the idea that this could be taken in a bad direction. It could be taken in a situation where Takami's going out of her way here to change who she really is and not actually be true to herself in a way, and doing it specifically like a selling out in a way for popularity, or to what she thinks is going to make herself feel better at the end of the day. But I don't read it off in that same situation. I read it more as she realizes these flaws with her, specifically because she notices that I'm not very approachable, which is something that she can probably tell by the fact that she doesn't have a lot of people it seems like that she's close to around her, or she realizes people don't actually know a lot about me or the things I stand for or the things I care about. And she realizes that if she did these subtle little things that aren't really changing who she is, sure, it's putting herself out of her comfort a little bit, but it's growing herself, like her as a person. And she seems to be open to that task and that challenge of trying to relax a little bit and maybe find some other people around you. That gets me a little nervous though, just because the idea that she's still being very hard on herself, and if she does seem to find struggle in exactly what she's trying to do here, it might be really, really bad for her. But I don't think it'll be something like that. I think this is something that we should be looking more in a positive light in the direction in which she's trying to bring herself here, especially because if I'm correct, she can literally run next year, so she still has this one more shot, so she understands I have to work towards this one more time, and I think I can do it next year if I kind of approach things a little different and build myself and show growth for who I really am. Conversation that occurs between now and Mitsumi about specifically Shima and her plans for what she wants to do this summer. Very funny. It's just a fun moment to see how protective in a way that now can kind of be in the relationship that they kind of have here. This just feels like normal overprotectiveness in a way, or being concerned specifically when this boy's name keeps coming up from Mitsumi, and just the way that she kind of acts and how important he seems like that he is in her life in a way. So I don't read this off as anything too different or weird or anything, just a fun moment. And it's nice that she has somebody in her life like this that she can be open to. Well, we see that with her friends and everybody else that's around her, but it is nice that this isn't something that she feels like she has to hide from family or anything. So really cool. Something I completely skipped over actually that I just remembered now. The line that really kind of stood out to me as something important or something interesting was, I believe Mitsumi said it, about how hard work itself is something that builds confidence for you, but it's very scary that all you can do is hope that it'll pay off someday, which is something that's beyond true. About no matter how hard you put in effort for something, sometimes people are just naturally better at something than you. Sometimes people just, things come more natural to them. Sometimes there's other people out there just working harder than you. Sometimes it's not good almost to compare yourself in certain situations, and you might sit there and look at life as unfair, or look at things as being completely just negative, and it changes your perspective on things almost, and you start becoming more negative, such as maybe the way that Mika looks at things, how she looks at things more negatively, or points out the negatives in things, whereas Mitsumi won't, and Mitsumi will look at more of the positive things. But it is very scary of a situation that you can kind of sit there and work as hard as you possibly can at something, for the idea that it may never actually pay off. How many times people start businesses or do things like that, or work very hard, especially in school, on their schoolwork, but some people just don't even study or do anything, and they naturally just get better grades, and they just can get lucky, or they can cram things in last minute, or these people have been working very hard for so long, still struggle to even put up good grades, right? And it's something that absolutely sucks. It really is, but it's something that's completely unfair, and there's no way that you can really do anything to change that. You just get to kind of accept it in a way, and you got to kind of take kind of what you're given and move with it. Like that's the only way I can really put it. It's really unfortunate, but you can't let it kind of get you down, as that is the case. And sometimes it's better to focus on the small progress and the things that you've specifically done, versus the things that maybe other people around you have done, maybe in the same amount of time, and exactly what's going on. I mean, even me looking at something with YouTube and stuff that I'm doing here now with this channel, it's something where it's very easy to fall into the trap of kind of looking at other people whose channel might be the same size as mine, or same people who might be, I don't know, maybe they've uploaded like 5 videos and they get a ton of views and subs from it, right? And then I'll look at myself, and in comparison, it just looks a lot worse, right? But it's also, everybody kind of moves at their own pace, and everybody shouldn't be as hard on themselves as they kind of are. And unfortunately, I mean, I also fall into that trap of becoming hard on myself for certain things like this, but it's also something just to kind of keep in mind that everybody has their own pace, and sometimes things work out for other people and sometimes people don't. But at the same time, if you miss an opportunity, or if you're not there at the right time, or if you went about things differently, you might not make the certain connections that you can with certain people or certain things, or you might just miss an opportunity in general. And those aren't things that you would have had if you were gifted maybe a little bit more in certain other aspects of life or certain situations that you never took the chance exactly where you're at now. So at this point, it's just start doing your hard work, start doing whatever it is that, you know, gets you going and makes you want us to kind of do things, and then just hope it pays off someday. And if it doesn't, just kind of be thankful and grateful for everything that kind of came about from it and what it is that you have. I mean, that's kind of the more of the perspective I feel like I should take on things too, personally. But it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of just the way it goes. Just roll with it and see what happens and be grateful for everything that kind of comes along with it. With summer looming on the horizon here, we got confession season basically coming up, as a lot of girls, and I guess guys too, don't want to find themselves in the situation where they have to spend all summer apart from somebody that they're interested in or that they would like to spend their summer with, basically, and never be able to have really any real form of communication with them. So they all kind of take their shot here right before the semester itself, or the break begins itself, and see exactly kind of what happens. It's something I've seen in plenty of other shows too, and it happens once again here. Shima's the one who unfortunately has to suffer through getting all of them, because nobody else in the class can really stack up to him, I guess, in comparison. A lot of the guys look onwards and they look at Shima as a hero, almost somebody that they wish that they were and wish that they had the same privilege and opportunities that he does, but they don't. So they try and make it very, very clear that they don't even care who it is. They just want somebody to come up to them and do the same exact thing. It's something that's hilarious. It's almost relatable in a way. I can't say that I've ever felt in that position, but it's still hilarious. They're just like praying that something happens good for them, and they're like, I'll take literally anything at this point. While keeping that scene kind of in the background for what's going to come right after this point, we move into another scene regarding our group of four here, our group of four main girls that we're kind of going to be following along here, where we kind of have three with Yuzuki and Kurume kind of mixed in with Mitsumi here, and that's kind of seems like what it's been for a little bit now. You got Mika in the background kind of spacing out in a way, or not spacing out, but she's somebody who's listening into what they're saying while not actually being included. And I think that's a feeling that kind of everybody can relate. And if you didn't try and focus on it, sometimes you would find yourself in conversations where you overhear things or you hear other people talking, and sometimes you just don't get included. And whether it's you're not included in the conversation or they're making plans to do something and nobody's asking you about your availability or kind of what's going on with that, it's something that can really suck, and you could absolutely hate to do it. And you don't want to be that person who puts yourself in and interjects and tries to involve yourself in a way or invite yourself to like do whatever they're doing. So Mika's kind of just sitting there, and I mean, I think she also doesn't think that she's really a part of their group and what's going on here, but at the same time, it's got to be a sucky feeling where you got everybody in the class that seems like kind of communicating or talking to somebody, and she's just sitting there on her phone all alone, right? So as Yuzuki is kind of trying to form some sort of plan for everybody to kind of study and do some stuff and go to somebody's house and have a sleepover or do whatever it is that they're going to do, Mitsumi thankfully turns around and asks Mika to kind of be involved, in which Mika takes a second to think about what exactly just happened and the fact that she seems to be involved now with all of them, but kind of agrees, and it seems like everybody's going to be involved here, and we had a fun little moment of everybody that's getting together, and I believe this is something that we can now look forward to possibly happening in future episodes, and I actually think that this will go perfectly into exactly what's going to happen at the end of this episode. The next part of this episode is the most interesting part to me throughout the entire thing, and there's a lot that kind of goes on in the few minutes that this goes over. Firstly, entering in with Shima and him having his conversation with Mitsumi and apologizing about the incident that kind of happened earlier, or not incident, but him stating earlier that the zoos aren't really good to go to early or go into the summer because of how busy they can get. So he comes out later on after looking into it a bit more and realizing that's not the case. And during the weekdays, they seem to be kind of empty in a way, or maybe not as busy, which is something that's very actually true. I don't know specifically for zoos, but I've been to like theme parks or amusement parks, just whatever, before, and usually if you go like on a Wednesday or like a Thursday or a Tuesday, like one of those 3 days, they're usually pretty empty, at least in comparison to literally any of the other days, specifically because Mondays people will take long weekends if they want to just take it off and go that day, or Friday they'll take things off earlier, they don't have to work or whatever, they feel like they can be out later at night. So those 3 days are like the golden days to kind of go, just in case if anybody was ever looking to go and they weren't trying to get stuck in a bunch of lines or something. That's the perfect time to go. Anyways, he looks this stuff up and kind of tells her, and they kind of seem to get very excited about this, and Mitsumi especially, because she really wants to go, and they're having this conversation. Firstly, the thing that pops in my mind is, why was he looking this up? Did he feel bad about just making a statement that he didn't think was true? Did he want to know how busy that they might end up getting because he's interested in going, or he wanted to go with her, or he has other plans maybe to take somebody else at some other point, right? There's a few things that could actually be. Anyways, in the middle of this conversation, Mika starts walking in because she has to go to the classroom for whatever reason, and she sees them two having a conversation. So she decides to take a step back because she doesn't know what she's supposed to do. Am I supposed to just go in there and interrupt what they're doing? Am I supposed to stay here and listen into them? Where am I supposed to go? The correct answer to that was actually just walk away completely, not be involved with them in any sort of way, or get in, get your stuff, and get out as quick as you can, right? However, she chooses the route of leaning against the wall and kind of just listening in. Now, I'm not completely angry with this at all. She's really interested in this guy, and now he's talking to this girl inside the room, and he doesn't know exactly what's going on because he hears them talking about things regarding summer break and everything. So she kind of feels like she wants to listen in a way. I don't necessarily disagree with that decision, and I don't think she did anything wrong. I think at some point maybe tell me that she heard it, and then it could kind of clear things up a little bit more. But I really don't think that this is something that's too bad for her listening in, especially because it's not like they're being very quiet about the conversation. So it's nothing overly important, either secretive that they're trying to share. So it shouldn't matter too much. But I thought it was just an interesting way that she kind of, her thought process about maybe what she should do here. Anyways, I feel like I'm getting completely off topic because these three, or this last like leg of this episode kind of had a lot of stuff going on, and I'm trying to structure this talk in a way that kind of works well. Anyways, back to what exactly happened with Shima rejecting the girl before. We find out as he talked with Mitsumi a little bit more, it seems like this is something that he kind of has to do, and he has to take precautions in a certain way. As some people, it's very clear the moment that you come up to them exactly what your intentions are with them, what exactly you're trying to do, whether it's relationship, friendship, kind of situation like that, or you can just read like an aura or vibe kind of off of this person, and you kind of go from there. You have to just be a decent enough judge of character, and usually you can figure out exactly what's going on, right? Also, intentions being stated at the start is very important, in my opinion, at least. A lot of people seem to disagree with that, but I think it is, because it also helps you get things out the way if they don't go well and you have certain intentions, right? Anyways, he talks to me in a way where he doesn't seem overly interested in getting to know or become friendly with any sort of girls that he doesn't have an interest in, or he doesn't think are viewing him strictly as a friend, and he doesn't want to get close to them because of that, because he seems to have no interest in getting into a relationship with somebody, or maybe he has different views on how he wants to handle that, or whatever is going on, right? He just doesn't seem like he wants to be involved with that in any sort of way. So maybe if they came up to him with more of a friendly sort of way, or they were like, I just want to be friends or something, he would have taken on to it a bit more. But a lot of times that's not the case. So him explaining that to her, she's kind of able to understand that, and she gets it stuck in her head now, the fact that he's so able to kind of read this off of a person, and her also getting it in her head that if she was at the wrong place and the wrong time, and she kind of messed up in the way that she said something or presented herself in some sort of way to him, he would have felt it was the same way, and now this entire relationship in which that they've had can be completely missed, which is a very real thing. I mean, she even brings up the fact about they were in the same class and everything else that kind of went on, and if they weren't in any of these situations, what would their connection or relationship in that sort of way be? And that goes back to just being kind of thankful for the situations that you put yourself in, because she's absolutely right. They have no common ground in a way that they really stand on, outside of the fact that they just happen to be born the same year, and they just happen to be in the same exact city, in the same exact school, in the same exact class that they randomly got put in, right? Like, there's no real thing behind luck that can kind of go into that. So it's one of those, you just gotta kind of be thankful and accept the things that you kind of, the situation and the cards you've been dealt, and let it roll. Anyway, she gets a bit more like thinking about exactly what happened with all those other people, and her being a little concerned when Shima presents the idea about who she was thinking about going to the zoo with, because she said that she needed to go. So easily, I was expecting him to just come out and be like, oh, do you want to go with me? Would have solved all the issues. No, he's playing the field a little bit more. He's a bit back here, and he lets her take the charge and decide exactly what she wants to do. Maybe he doesn't want to self-invite in a way. He feels like almost he's doing that, despite the fact, I guess, that he's asking her, but it was her idea. So you know what I'm getting at. Anyways, he goes out of his way to ask that question, and it gets in her head a bit more about, okay, I have to be careful of the thing that I say here, because if I say something wrong, or if I take this the wrong way, he might get the wrong idea, and I don't want him to get the wrong idea, because then it creates friction between us as friends, and we just got over this whole thing before, and I don't want this whole situation to happen, or him to think that I have intentions that aren't actually there, and all of this, right? And it's a constant back and forth in your head. She just starts blurting he wants to go in there. Great moment, right? He easily accepts it, though, because, of course, why wouldn't he? He wants to just hang out with his friend. He literally brought up that question, I'm pretty sure, for that exact reason. But this sets her off, right? It completely sets me off. Like, huh? Why did he think of me like that? Why does he not? Like, why am I different? Where is everybody else? Like, he would have easily rejected or felt that they had certain intentions. But me, it's like, oh, no, she's just a friend, right? There was a really good picture in it, right? Here, that's what he sees. 100% friend made in the Chicago picture. This right here. This is exactly what she thinks that he sees, right? So no matter what she says or what she does, it can't harm her in any sort of way because he will never view her in another sort of way. And that's kind of the trap that she's leading herself into. I don't necessarily think he's wrong or she's wrong in thinking that. I really don't. He actually very well can view her like that or might think of things that way. We really don't know. But regardless, it's very interesting to view like the idea of her thought process and maybe why she feels this way or maybe why she's so annoyed in a way. The fact that maybe he just can't view her like that or for whatever the reason is, right? And that's back again why I said like something with intentions is very important. Sure, there's plenty of situations where people become very friendly and they become very close, and over time they develop a relationship in some sort of way. But there's also plenty of people who refuse to develop a relationship any further because they don't want to say ruin things between friends. I don't like that very much. I don't think that's necessarily the right idea or path. Usually, or people who use that reasoning or excuse. I think that typically isn't right, but I have my own reasons and understandings for that I won't get into. But that's why personally I've always tried to take an approach where if I was getting into a friendship or I found interest in somebody, but interest to a point where I just kind of wanted to be friendly with them, I would almost try and make intentions regarding that very known without saying it in a way that seems like that they could hurt somebody's feelings. And I really don't know the best way to go about that because it's all dependent on the person and the circumstance and whatever's going on with your friendship at that time, right? Or whatever's going on just when you communicate with each other. So it all depends. But every time that I've kind of been in one of those situations where I've been trying to initiate like a friendship in some sort of way, I try and state intentions regarding that in some sort of way that kind of makes it flow into the conversation a bit more and maybe bring it up a few other times in the same exact fashion, like early on, to the point that they kind of, I think, also understand that I really don't have any other motives or intentions here. And this is kind of where I'm boxing them in a way, and then allows them to make that decision exactly if they want to split further or not be friends because maybe that's not what they're looking for. But it also can allow them to feel more comfortable because they can realize maybe he doesn't have other intentions regarding something like that, right? I've been on the flip side as well where other people state theirs and then I also get to make that decision exactly how close or far apart I want to kind of separate in that regards, right? He must then suddenly gets a call on his phone and he gets one from this girl who's outside the school who comes to visit or see him, and then she ends up coming up to the classroom while he runs down to go look for her. So she ends up meeting up with Mika and Mitsumi. This girl spells very bad news to me. I don't know her relation with him. She is on a magazine, so she's very popular in some sort of way. So I'm guessing that she's a friend or somebody that he met when he was younger in regards to his acting and everything else that he did. I don't also know if she was somebody who was out eating with him that first day when we saw that stuff going on. I'm too lazy to check, I'm gonna be honest with you, so I'm not going to check that. I don't think that's the case in the slightest though, but if it was, that'd be interesting. Regardless, what her relationship with him is this more friendship? Is this some sort of relationship thing? He seems to have an issue with her. Are they related maybe in some sort of way? They don't look it, but I guess it's a complete possibility. Her glaring look, like almost while she's looking at Mitsumi, and she just kind of walks in the room, and it's like, I don't know, she just gives off very bad vibes to me. And I don't like it, her attitude that she kind of had about everything from the few lines that she's had so far. It's just something about her doesn't sit well with me. And it unfortunately makes me think we're going to be in for a very rough or uncomfortable episode next week, which I don't know if I'm up for, but we're gonna end up seeing, I guess, the way that kind of goes. So she's somebody interested that I'm gonna have to keep on my mind, but also it's gonna get people like Mika and Mitsumi, and they're gonna be like, what the hell is her role and what is her deal with him and their relationship and everything else that's kind of going on. So rather interested the way that they're gonna approach that here. I think we're also gonna get that sleepover thing at some other point, whether it's next episode or the one after, which will be really fun and enjoyable for us to see. Actually, I think, now that I think about it, we'll probably get this first half of the episode or a little bit early into it, and then we might actually get that early on, and all the girls are kind of just like gossiping and talking about it and really showing their friendship and stuff regarding her. That might be really fun, actually. I'd be interested in maybe something regarding that. I think main points this episode, though, don't be too hard on yourself. Don't be afraid to change yourself in a way that you really think is necessary, and not for popularity purposes, but for growth of yourself as a person. And also don't be afraid to state intentions and feelings and stuff regarding friends and exactly kind of what you want between you two as a relationship, whether it's friendship or an actual romantic relationship in some sort of way, right? I think those are some key things here kind of to keep an eye on here, but also just to take away that can be very, very important. It's gonna be all from me though. I feel like I just rambled for a really long time. So I apologize if that was the case. Hope you all enjoyed though. Thank you very much for watching. The support of the series is outstanding, and it really means a lot to me. And I love all the comments and interaction and everything that you guys can give when it comes to this. So it really does mean a lot. If you liked it all, hit the like and subscribe. They do really mean a lot to me. Feel free to follow me on Twitter and my anime list. Both links are in the description. Check out the other videos on the channel, as well as recommend me other shows for me to watch at some other point. Leave any comments about this episode or series. I will be back next week, episode 8. You guys have a very good one. Thank you very much for watching. See you.